Yeah,
Now
it's not. Now
Okay,
it is.
awesome. So the difference,
First period.
the
Was it not
difference,
recording?
Todd, be quiet.
Say hi to Freddie.
the difference between watercolor and tempera paint is tempera is thicker and kind of creamier. You're either gonna love it or you're not gonna love it. We'll have to see. One thing you don't want to do though is next week when we start doing acrylic, don't use these plates. So that's why it's important that you bring your own little container. And I know some of y'all in here have already brought them, and your place is down at the bottom. See, that's where y'all gonna put your little containers. So you can't use these plates for acrylic. Please don't, because this is what happens. It makes a big old mess. So there's lots of ways that you can clean this up. I am just got a damp paper towel, and I'm just gonna clean this up. This is probably the best way to do it before you take it to the sink in the bathroom. It's just to wipe up as much paint as you can. And it's pretty. It's pretty. And then throw this away, of course, right?
Just 'cause it's
and
brown.
then,
Yes.
are y'all gonna listen, or am I just gonna have to wait till y'all stop talking? Okay. So then the cool thing, can I have that please? Oh, you're right. I thought you were taking my paint. Oh, give me my paint. And then the cool thing about this is you can just stick it under the sink in the bathroom and just let the sink hit it, and then it kind of cleans itself. And sometimes you can actually get your brush and kind of clean it.
Can I aggressively scrub it?
You can,
Okay.
if you want to be aggressive. Okay, so we got our paint. I don't know which one I want to show you. Let's see here. Okay, so let me just show you, I don't know, about 3 different ones. So there's lots of different kinds of brushes. And this is kind of getting you ready for acrylics, because when you do acrylics, you can do a lot of cool things. If y'all ever seen Bob Ross?
Yes.
Yeah, he uses oil paints. So we're gonna kind of use acrylics kind of like oil paints. But anyway, so this is a fan brush. You can use toothbrushes. Some of these you can still, some of the things you can do with, some of the things you did with acrylic, watercolor you can do with tempered paint. These are called liner brushes. I don't know if y'all can see that, little tiny brushes. And we even have bigger brushes, medium-sized brushes, all kinds of brushes. I like the angled brushes. If you haven't used one of these angle brushes, they are amazing. In fact, let me use that one. Okay, so the first one is, I'm gonna show you dry brush. You're gonna notice that you have 2 new variables. You have black and white. One thing that you don't, oh, and you need paper towel. You have to have paper towel with this when you switch colors, because you just have to. Okay, so one thing you have to be really careful is when you're mixing colors, if you put black and white together, what are you gonna get? Yeah, you'll get gray. And that's not a bad thing, but I have a lot of people that are sad when they get their white with their black, and then they add it with the color. What happens is it dulls the color down. It's called a tone, which isn't a bad thing, but it's not a pretty thing. That's called a tone. So if you've ever heard anybody say tone it down, like maybe you're being too loud or something, you can remember that, because that's what happens when you tone a color down. It gets quiet. See? I toned it down. What else? So let's see. The first thing is, I got a whole bunch of stuff. I don't even know what I want to show you. Is dry brush. Let me show you how to do dry brush. Just get some paint. And there's lots of ways you can do it. You'll get a sheet of paper like this. Or you know what? You could do this in your sketchbook. You could definitely do these in your sketchbook, because this paper is just, your sketchbook paper is better than this paper. But you can use this paper too if you want to. It's back behind me. Okay, so dry brush is when you get paint that's dry. I know that sounds crazy, but kind of go like that. There we go. Now it's
like a pencil writing.
It does. There we go. That's dry brushing. Okay, and the way that you would do, or why would you do dry brushing? I don't know, like maybe for a tree. Yeah, you could shade. You sure could. Anyway, you get the idea. Okay, so that looks kind of cool. Another thing you can do is you can actually do what's called an underpainting. And if you're advanced in painting, that's what you do with oil paints, is you do what's called an underpainting. Anybody in here do oils?
Oh,
I did.
recently or anything.
Yeah, and you were interested maybe, right, in doing oils? So when we're doing acrylics, Abby's already told me that she wants to do what's called impasto, which is where the paint is really, really thick. And so you have, the only way to do this is with oils. So I have oils back there. So you just have to let me know. She's already let me know. Anybody else, you'll have to buy a canvas though if you're gonna do it. That's the only thing, okay? Okay, so dry brush, let's see here. Underpainting is where you paint one color, and what was I gonna do? I was gonna do light blue. Is this, can you see if that's on there, on that thing?
Epiphany's
It's
for
like,
life.
Yeah, is the paint,
Battery, yeah. Okay, now it is.
is it still showing?
You're good.
No, you're good.
Okay. So I was gonna do, ooh, ah. So when you add white to a color, it's called a tint.
I thought it was called adding white.
Yeah, maybe in your book it is. But the real way of doing it is like using proper names for things. So that's called a tint, and you add white. And I had a little bit of gray in my brush, and so that's why it's kind of toned, because I forgot to rinse my brush really good. Bad Mooney. So this is actually a tone right here, a baby tone. Let me show you the difference.
Is there like a father tone?
Huh?
Is it like a father tone?
I don't know, like father
That's the
time.
baby.
Oh, yeah. So here's how I rinse my brush is I put it in the water and then I go like this and I go back and forth. That's how I get my brush really clean. Like if I was gonna want something that's pure pure white right now, I'd be scared that I still had blue in here,
I'm pure white.
honestly. God, I forgot what I was gonna say. Okay, so let's make this color without it being a tone. What did I do, yellow? Let's see if it's brighter. I'm actually doing this on purpose so that will dry. See how it's toned down?
Oh yeah.
It's not exactly the same color. But see, I had white and I had gray in my brush, so that's why it's toned down. Yeah, you can see a big difference. I do anyway. If you can't see a difference, kind of squint your eyes a little bit, and you can see that that's actually grayed, a little gray. Let me gray it on purpose so you can see. There, it's pretty. Okay, so then what you can do after you have an underpainting is you can go back and you can put another color over the top. What time is it?
3:30.
I think the biggest question that people ask is how do you do like a fade, you know? And that's what I'm going to show you. And then go like this to clean it out real good. Let's do like a light blue. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to want it to be dark and get lighter. So I actually have too big of a brush for this little space. Do y'all see that? This is way too big for this little bitty space. So that's why we have all different sizes of brushes. I'm gonna show you one more and then I'll let y'all get started. I mean, one more after this one. So I'm gonna put light here. And then I'm gonna, this is called licking the paint. Now, if you do this and you can feel it pulling on the paper, which I do, I just need to add a little dab of water, just a little bit. That's probably too much. Oh well. And then I forgot, did we want it lighter? I already forgot what I said.
Dark to light.
Dark to light. Okay, so it's not even changing that much, so. See, I'm wiping off some of that paint right there, and then I'm gonna lick the paint. Yeah. This brush is really fraying at the end, so that's why it's not very smooth. But Lorden actually used that to her benefit.
I did.
Yeah, the one you were showing me that you crosshatched.
Yeah, right. I totally.
Yeah, you want to show it on the camera real quick? So now I'm actually cross-hatching this. I'm going to lick the paint going up to get this to smooth out because this brush is not cleaned out very good. It's kind of frayy. This would be a good brush to do dry brush with because it's already kind of
Oh, it's in Chinese.
dry.
It's not Chinese, it's Japanese. You're tired.
No, we don't say tard.
Everyone leave
It's in Asianese.
Why bully
go.
Todd because of his?
Yeah, because.
Yeah, I did it.
Oh, glad you gave it to me, cause yeah. Just kidding. I was.
That's right.
Y'all think that showed up on the camera?
Probably
Yes.
not. I
Probably
saw some
not.
of it.
I also wrote love in like 8 different languages.
Mm.
Wow. That explains.
Yummy.
That's why
The
you need to
Asian
Google
looks
Translate.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you just have to keep working on it and it'll get better and better.
Chinese is
Okay,
not-
the last thing I'm going to show you guys, last thing, because I know y'all want to try this, is I want you to show me that you can cut in.
Yeah, both.
Cut in.
I want to show you how to cut in, because I know some of you have painted before. Did I just get paint on me?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's funny. Don't worry about
Don't
it.
lick the paint.
Don't lick the paint, that's right. So cutting in, I know this is gonna sound babyish, but I want you to show me that you can do it, because this is art 1, so that's why we do all this stuff kind of slow. I want you to show me that you can cut in.
I'm slow.
What that means is, you know how to put your hand on your paper. Like if you needed to put one, oops, see I messed up right there. If you needed to put one color next to another color, see I'm messing up pretty good here, it's all right. I don't like this brush. See, I like angled brushes better. And then let that dry, and then show me that you could cut in another color over here. Okay, but you want that to dry first, right? Okay, so go have fun, try that, and I'll show you a whole bunch more tomorrow. Whole bunch more.
Can I see before you? I saw you had everybody around the important. Yes.
It's not even that big a
You're
thing.
just showing a technique.
Just different techniques, yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Water? Is that watercolor? It's
No,
not.
they just got through doing watercolor.
Okay, because I saw someone do it earlier.
Oh, yeah.
But that's not watercolor. I should have known.
But the other class today was doing watercolor.
Okay, I saw one of them when I walked by.
This class goes fast. They're fast. They're ahead of all my other classes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because we see them longer. We see
Are
them
you
longer.
playing? That's what I was about to go find out. I'm going to get my stuff out of the car right now.
Got paint on my face?
Yeah, I'm definitely.
I should be there for playing. Hey, I'm gonna have to go home and get my daughter, but I think I'm gonna bring her back for a little bit.
Thanks.
Okay?
Oh, okay. Yeah. I thought you wanted me to do it. Mama.
Can I get salt water anytime I need?
What?
Can I go get salt water anytime I need?
You're welcome.